friends, and happy new year. So today is January 1st and I am planning to do a 24 reading challenge of me reading whatever I want. I already picked up my first book, and this will be the first book that I will be reading for the year. The first book I will be reading this year is When I Think of You by Maya Ariel. I've had this on my shelf for a while and I've heard good things about it, so I do want to pick up and read it. It's only 348 pages, so it's like not that long, and then we shall see what we'll read next. I might even pull out the TBR jar to kind of pick out my next read. I'm also planning to work on my reading journal for a little bit and just kind of organize everything for the year and kind of also plan out some videos for 2025. But we are reading for 24 hours. I did get my cup of coffee. My reading room is all set up, which I do have a video on that is going to come out very soon about putting this together, but let's get to reading. Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of an update because I am quite far in. I'm about 35% of the way through. So far we're following Kalia Wilson, who works at the reception desk at this big film studio. And then we're also following Danny Prescott, who is an upcoming person to look out for director. We first kind of get introduced to them in the beginning when Kalia is working the front desk and Danny actually comes to meet with some of the film producers for this film that he's trying to put up. They're seeing each other for the first time. They had a really romantic, very genuine relationship. We don't know what happened in that relationship and as to why it kind of falls apart, but she has him in his phone as Sally Mae, which I think is hilarious. Long story short, Kalia and Danny had worked on this film that's based on Danny's parents and how they met a long time ago, and I think the overarching theme of the film is love, essentially. And so because they worked on this film back in college, Danny asks Kalia if she would be interested in being the assistant director to this film because she already is familiar with the material and she kind of has a little bit of a connection to it. She's really ecstatic, excited, and she quits her job, even though there's still a little bit of tension between the two of them. Her biggest goal in life is to become one of the first Black Oscar-winning directors. With this film, she can kind of put her foot in the door a little bit, but because she's a woman and because she's Black, it's really hard in the Hollywood industry. In the theater industry, I kind of feel like it's kind of the same way. They want to be seen as diverse, so they want people of color to come and audition and have people there, but they don't really, I feel like, they don't really treat us with any sort of importance, but to just show to the masses that, hey, we are diverse, even though they don't treat their people of color with the love and support that they deserve, if that makes any sense. Really relate to that aspect of this book. Danny Prescott does come from a very privileged life, but he still is a Black man trying to break into this Hollywood industry and become one of these very well successful directors, so it's like really hard for him. The writing is really great. Like, it has this sense of calm, and I don't know if it's because it's day one of 2025 and I'm just feeling very calm right now, or if the book has this calming presence to it, but I love how it's making me feel. It feels almost like a breath of fresh air a little bit. They haven't talked to each other about what happened in the past, so that will be a very interesting conversation if we ever get to it. I kind of relate to her in a way because she's paid her dues, and I feel like I've had thoroughly paid my dues at this point. She feels like it's her time to shine and it's her time to get her moment and do what she wants to do, and I feel like that is it's hard. It's really hard, especially in the Hollywood industry, the theater industry, anything that has to do with performing. It's like very hard. I'm definitely gonna finish this book. It's reading very fast and I'm already like 100 pages in. Shout out to my sister, my baby sis, for getting me this very cool Christmas gift. I always wanted a stand for my Kindle and the little remote clicker thing. You probably saw me do this earlier, but I love just drinking my coffee and just turning the pages without having to like handle two big items. And so this has been very nice. I feel like I'm also kind of watching a movie this way, so I don't know why, but I'm literally obsessed with this. So thanks to the little sis, she knows me very well. I'm gonna get back to reading this book and then I'll update you guys maybe when I'm done or maybe earlier. Okay guys, so I just finished When I Think of You by Maya Ariel. I think I'm gonna give this book 4.5 stars. This was incredible. Like, it was emotional. There was a lot of stuff going on. I really enjoyed it. It's very sad in a lot of parts of the book, so I was a little emotional throughout, so I do apologize for that. But first book of 2025 completed. I have about 18 hours and 35 minutes left of this challenge. I think we're gonna pull out the TBR jar because I genuinely don't know what to read. So let's go do that. We have another romance pick. Let's see what I can find. So I found like 4 options. So the first one is One Star Romance by Laura Hankin. I also have The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco, which I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards. Then we have Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher. This is the only book I haven't read by them, so I do want to read this. Or The 7-Year Slip. Everyone raves about this book. I've only read one other Ashley Poston book in the past, and it was Geekerella, which is not one of her most popular books, but I remember liking it. But again, I did read that book in the beginning of my reading journey, so I don't know if it's going to be the same now. I'll come back when I figure it out. Okay, so between the 4 books, I narrowed it down to 2. I really want to read both of these, but I think I'm going to pick up The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco by Talia Hibbert, because I feel like I haven't read a Talia Hibbert book in a while, so I think we're going to pick this one up. And I do want to read this book, so maybe we'll read this at the end or towards the end of the challenge. Also, I do want to work on my reading journal today, so maybe I'll do that a little bit later as well as I listen to an audiobook. Right now, I'm gonna dive into this. I don't know what this is about, honestly. It says, he is in love, she's faking it. Ooh. Footballing legend Nick Christou leads a charmed life, rich, successful, and internationally adored. No woman or man has ever rejected him, until a tattooed goddess blows his mind and captures his heart with just one kiss. Okay. Distrustful of men and disdainful of love, Arya Granger's tongue is as sharp as her winged eyeliner. She knows from experience that Nick, like any smoking hot himbo with bags of cash, is too good to be true, so she's determined to send his walking temptation packing. Fortunately, Nick devised the perfect strategy to win his woman. Step 1, offer her an obscene amount of money to be his fake girlfriend. Okay. Step 2, whisk her away to a lavish Spanish villa under the watchful eye of his entire team. And step 3, figure out between all the fake flirtation and phony PDA how to make her love him back. What could possibly go wrong? I think a lot of things could go wrong. But either way, let's get to reading. It's been a minute, so update time. I finished The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco by Talia Hibbert. This was a lot of fun. Like, I wasn't expecting to have so much fun in this one. I'm gonna give this book 3.25 stars. I wished it was longer, but it's a little novella, so I'm not mad about it because it was fun. Basically, in the book, we're following Nick, who used to be on a really big football team, very successful and everything. He got injured and now he's rich, has a lot of money. We're also following Arya. One day Nick goes up to Arya and is trying to talk to her, and she's just not really interested in guys right now because she had a really terrible previous relationship. She was actually married. Was really bad, so she kind of is not really looking to dating anybody, but he is like infatuated with her. So he comes up with this big scheme to basically say, I need a fake girlfriend for this thing, could you be my fake girlfriend? And she relentlessly says yes. And so they go to this like really nice Spanish villa, and she's spending time with him and all of his friends, and they start getting to know each other, and of course that's where all of the relationship starts happening. I will say it was very spicy. So now I gotta pick up my next book. I don't know what that's going to be. I'm thinking of like a fantasy. I have 3 in mind, but let me go grab them real fast. Also, I'm drinking an Alani Nu in the flavor mimosa. Here are the options that I have. The first book that I kind of want to read is Unravel Me by Ture Mafe. I have most of the books on my shelves and I only read the first one, so I feel like I should continue with this. This is a new series. This is the first book. It's called Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, and I had gotten a lot of people recommend this to me because it has dragons in it, and because I was obsessed with Game of Thrones, people did recommend this book to me, and I think it is young adult. Then we have A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin. I really want to finish the series, to be honest, before the new spinoff comes out. Only downside is, if I do pick this up, this will be the only book I read for the rest of the challenge because she's a thick one. The last book I have is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, and I believe this is an adult romantasy book with Vikings. These 2 books would be me starting a new series. I don't know if I should do that right now or I should just continue a series. Okay, so I picked out the book. Can I get a drum roll? We're reading Unravel Me. So we're actually going to be annotating this book, so I got my tabs and my pencils and highlights and stuff. I do need to create a tab system for this. I'll check back in with you guys later. Okay, good morning guys. It is the next day. I did sleep for about 3 hours. Didn't do the 24 hours straight through. I don't think I was planning on doing that. I think I was going to actually read 12 hours yesterday and 12 hours today. But we took a little nap or a long sleep. I did pause the timer last night and I have about 9 hours and 33 minutes left of the challenge. I am at the 74% mark of this book, so I'll definitely finish it. And I'm currently watching season 2, episode 7 of House of the Dragon. I think for my next book, I think I'm gonna try and read the 2 novellas. I think it's called Unite Me by Touré Maffei. It's the 2 novellas that go after the first and second book. And I believe it follows the same plot, it just has a different POV. So I think one of the POVs is Adam's and the other one is Warner's. So that will be interesting. And I'll probably listen to that on audio while I update my reading journal. So I'm going to finish the book and then continue on to the audiobook of the 2 novellas. Hi guys, so update. Oh shoot, let me turn this down actually before I give you an update. Go, run, leave now! Sorry, I am currently watching Game of Thrones and I'm watching one of my favorite episodes. Not favorite episodes, but I'm watching one of my favorite moments. Anyway, I finished Unravel Me by Touré Maffei. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I'm trying not to give too much because I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't read the series yet. I feel like in this book we learned a lot about other people's magical abilities. We got a little bit more world building. We get introduced to a few characters. I have about 8 hours and 25 minutes left of this challenge. I'm gonna go ahead and start Untie Me. Girly Bop, it's Unite Me, not Untie Me, which is the 2 novellas. I don't know if this is gonna like add to the plot or anything, but I do own this book, so I am going to read it. Okay, y'all, so update time. I just finished reading Unite Me, which are the 2 novellas in the Shatter Me series. I'm giving it 3 stars. The novellas didn't really move the plot at all. It was just the same story, but from 2 other perspectives. So I thought that was very interesting. We got a little bit more of some character developments. We get to see what they were actually thinking. But it didn't really move the plot. So we're gonna stick with the 3-star rating. I also just finished my therapy sessions, checking on in that mental health. I forgot to mention, I also did update my reading journal, but now I just gotta figure out what I want to read next. So I think I'm still in a fantasy mood, so I think we might pick up another fantasy book. I think I'm just gonna pick between the 3 I already pulled out from the library. First book I have is Feast of Crows by George R.R. Martin. If I start, I feel like I'm gonna read it this weekend, so maybe I'll save this for another time. Let me grab the other 2. Next, we do have these two fantasy books. We have Fireborn, which is by Rosaria Munda, and then A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I think the next book we're going to read is A Fate Inked in Blood. I really do want to read this book. I actually planned on reading it because I already made a little tabbing system in here for it. So it looked like I was about to start reading it, and then I ended up not reading it at all. So I do want to pick this one up. I've had this on my shelf for some time, so I think we should read this. I don't know what it's about at all, but I'm excited to dive into this. And I'm currently watching The Long Night, which is in, you guessed it, Game of Thrones. Friends, I am coming here to wrap up this video. I was editing and I realized I never ended the video. Let's do a little bit of a wrap up of all of the books I read in this 24-hour reading challenge. Most of them are really good. None of them were big flops. I haven't DNF'd anything yet, so round the applause. These are all of the books that I have read during the challenge. The first book that I picked up was When I Think of You by Maria Ariel. I really enjoyed this book. I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars after sitting on my thoughts, and truly, this was one of the best books to start with. The writing was great. I loved the storyline. I loved that this was a second chance romance following these two people who were part of the film TV industry, and I'll definitely be picking up more books by this author. I know she's coming out with another book called No Ordinary Love. This is no ordinary love. Every time I see that title, I think of that Sade song. Every single time. Next, we have The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco by Talia Hibbert. I thought this was fun. It's like not the most craziest, most amazing romance of your life, but it was definitely a fun time. Fake dating takes place in a Spanish villa on like a little vacation. It's very spicy. If you like spice and you want something short, this one's a fun one. The next book I did read was Unravel Me by Terray Mafe, which is the second book in the Shatter Me series. To be honest, I could not put this book down. It was just so, like, every page you turn, you're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? I'm trying not to give too much away because, again, like, it's a series and I don't know, if people want to read it, like, I don't want to spoil anything. But I will say in this book, you do get to learn a lot about people's magical abilities. Like, there are a few characters that we don't really know too much about, like Adam, for example. Like, we, in the first book, didn't really know why he was able to touch Juliet, and now we have a few answers. There was some cool, crazy surprises in here too. I hope to finish this series by the end of this year. The next book I read is Unite Me by Terray Mafe, and it contains 2 novellas. One is Destroy Me and one is Fracture Me. Destroy Me is the one that comes after Shatter Me, and then Fracture Me is the one that comes after Unravel Me. And I just read both of them in one sitting. These were fine. Like, I feel like if you were interested in like Warner and Adam, I feel like you might really get a kick out of this. I personally thought it was okay. Like, it basically takes place during the same time as the first two books, but we're just getting their perspectives. It's not like any new information, but you do get to see like what Warner and Adam are thinking and how they're trying to cope with all the things that are going on. I also feel like for me, this would have came in handy when I was like about to start Unravel Me, because I feel like this would have given me a little bit of a refresher as to what was going on. Not saying that this didn't do a good job, because it did, but I hadn't read Shatter Me in such a long time, so I needed a little bit of a refresher to know at least what happened at the end. I think I gave it like 3 stars. Then we have A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I've been dying to read this book for a very long time. I didn't finish it. I got to page 56, chapter 6 in this book. So far, I'm really liking it. Definitely, if you are into like the Viking shows, like Vikings or The Last Kingdom, things like that, I feel like you might enjoy this. I'm enjoying it so far. Basically, we're following Freya, who is married to this god-awful man. Like, Jesus Christmas, he's terrible. She has this secret magical ability that like basically nobody knows except for her family. There's a prophecy with this magical ability that she has. As a wife, all she does is like gut fish, clean the house, and try to have children, even though she doesn't have any with Froggy. She is dreaming one day that she would become a warrior. Her husband basically sells her out to the Jarl and the Jarl actually makes her fight his son. And so they're basically doing a fight to the death situation. That's when she shows her magical abilities that she's been hiding for so long. And so now the Jarl's like, you're gonna stop being with this man and you're gonna be with me. I also know that the second book is coming out this year, I think. So I definitely want to finish this before the book comes out. I really do love the banter in this book, like especially between Bjorn and Freya. Their like back and forth is really fun. Hello sir, I'm trying to do a video here. So kind to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. I really want that on a t-shirt. It's the garbage man. Sweet sugar garbage. That is crazy to say. Here are all the books I read for this challenge. Thank you so much for following this video. I know it was a little bit chaotic at times. Well, to me it felt very chaotic, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're not, you should like and subscribe so you can follow along my cool reading journey. I hope you guys have an amazing day and keep on reading.